It had multiple stars in it. Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Chris Brown, Justin Bieber, Drake.
Ron Jeremy, Denzel Washington, Beyonce Knowles, Ellen DeGeneres, Whoopi Goldberg, Lady Gaga, Chrissy Teigen, John Legend, Joan Rivers, Rob Saget. Do you want me to keep going? Ask me. Everybody wonder why my smile is so deep. Everybody wonder why my eyes sparkle. Everybody always asks me, why you smiling when you dance? Because you don't understand the live through. It's worth it to smile. And I'm still smiling, and I'm gonna continue to smile. And majority of y'all who continue to ask me and gonna tell me that I'm pointing fingers to kiss my natural black me with that Bye! And when it comes out, don't come running back. I shouldn't have to get this nitty gritty for people to wake up. I shouldn't have to say something like that for you to be like, oh, she's probably telling the truth. It is pathetic that people gotta go here. It's pathetic that it's gonna take somebody to say it was me for somebody to understand. I'm gonna stop yelling though.
I mean, he actually caught HIV, like having like a lot of women.
Oh yeah, let's just go down the rabbit hole of all of his sins.
I'm just saying.
You want to know what's wild about that though? He faced that head up.
He did.
And he didn't stop. And he didn't stop doing what he's done.
He an advocate. Now he did that. And
period. Listen to me. He faced that head up. How many dudes is running around undetectable? G.
Come on.
In the game.
Man.
Because I could tell you 20 right now that I could rattle off names, and wouldn't nobody be able to sue me.
If you believed hip-hop's deepest secrets would stay buried forever, think again. Tonight, Jaguar Wright pulls some of the industry's most powerful figures into the spotlight, describing Diddy's alleged freak-off gatherings as environments where silence wasn't merely encouraged, it was demanded. These are stories involving major stars who, according to long-running rumors, risked far more than their reputations. When claims surrounding high-profile celebrities and serious health concerns are repeated by outspoken insiders, the conversation grows impossible to ignore. Whether accepted or disputed, the allegations continue to fuel intense public debate. This is no ordinary list of names. It is a closer look at the whispers, accusations, and controversies that have followed some of entertainment's biggest icons for years. If you have always assumed your favorite stars were untouched by scandal, what follows may challenge that belief. For decades, stories have circulated about what happens behind the closed doors of exclusive industry parties, yet few have ever moved beyond speculation. Tonight, Jaguar Wright steps forward once again, determined to confront what she describes as a culture of secrecy. Rather than hinting at hidden truths, she presents her claims with unwavering confidence. According to Jaguar, the stories connected to Diddy's infamous gatherings are not simply rumors passed through the entertainment world. In her view, they represent a much larger pattern that powerful people have worked hard to keep out of public sight. Her accusations arrive not as suggestions, but as direct challenges to the narrative many have accepted for years.
He actually caught HIV, like having like a lot of women.
Oh yeah, let's just go down the rabbit hole of all of his sins.
I'm just saying.
You want to know what's wild about that though? He faced that head up.
He did.
And he didn't stop. And he didn't stop doing what he's done.
He an advocate. Now he did that. And
period. Listen to me. He faced that head up. How many dudes is running around undetectable? G.
Come on.
In the game.
Man.
Because I could tell you 20 right now that I could rattle off names, and wouldn't nobody be able to sue me.
Feel that sense of unease? It is not just the weight of celebrity names attached to these stories. It is the growing realization that some of the biggest figures in music have spent years surrounded by rumors, speculation, and unanswered questions. How many of your favorite artists have found themselves connected to these conversations, and why do so many observers believe certain narratives are protected at all costs? For years, headlines have hinted at controversies operating behind the scenes. But tonight, the discussion shifts from vague references to specific names, and the spotlight becomes impossible to ignore. If these stories have already made you question what really happens behind the curtain of fame, what comes next may challenge even more assumptions about the entertainment world and the people who dominate it. Being caught in an industry controversy is one thing. Being accused of helping perpetuate a cycle is something entirely different. According to claims repeatedly discussed online, that distinction sits at the center of one of the most controversial narratives surrounding two major figures in pop culture. Jaguar Wright argues that the relationship between mentor and protege may have involved far more than career guidance. She suggests that difficult experiences and industry pressures were not left behind, but instead passed from one generation to the next. In Jaguar's telling, the story is not about competition, jealousy, or ordinary mentorship. It is about survival inside an environment where influence, opportunity, and personal sacrifice are often intertwined. She paints a picture of a system in which success can come with hidden costs, and where those costs do not always end with a single individual. Whether her claims are accepted or disputed, they continue to fuel debate about power, responsibility, and the unseen dynamics that shape some of entertainment's biggest careers.
No, because I think if a victim comes out against Usher, it'll show how egregious this because if he can be a predator, then anybody can be a predator.
Can't smile in your face the whole time.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, people look at Usher, they don't see that. They're not seeing the victim. They're not seeing that boy that got rushed to the hospital. They're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
Oh.
Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there. Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute. And his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that. He had already been to the hospital. That situation that Gene was talking about. And you still took Bieber there, but you got custody of him first. Diddy had already tried. They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler. Does that sound like a good guy?
It's horrible.
Does that sound like a good guy? Now that we know what Diddy's really like, what kind of tool do you gotta be to take another boy, another talented boy, and put him in your place so it ain't gotta be you no more? Because that's what do. They get victims, and then once they get to a certain age and they get too old for them to enjoy them, they send them out to go get other young kids.
Some commentators have even linked personal struggles faced by major celebrities to rumors that continue to circulate online. But separating speculation from reality is rarely simple, especially when public figures live under constant scrutiny. What is clear is that fame does not shield anyone from pressure, controversy, or the lasting impact of public narratives. And if you think these stories only involve younger artists finding their way through the industry, think again. According to some critics, even the pioneers and established icons of hip-hop have found themselves caught in the same cycle. In their view, when someone is no longer useful to the machine, distance and isolation can become part of the story. The entertainment world celebrates redemption arcs, but it has also been accused of creating villains and casualties when circumstances change. One name frequently mentioned in these discussions is Craig Mack. Once recognized as one of the earliest stars associated with Bad Boy Records, his rise appeared to symbolize the promise of a new era in hip-hop. Yet as years passed, questions emerged about how his career unfolded after those early successes faded from the spotlight. Jaguar Wright has argued that Craig Mack's story reflects a broader pattern within the music industry. According to her perspective, artists who help build powerful brands are not always remembered once their commercial value declines. She describes a trajectory marked by disappointment, personal struggles, and growing separation from the industry that once celebrated him. Various rumors and allegations have circulated about the circumstances surrounding his later years, though many remain unverified. What is undisputed is that Craig Mack's life took a dramatically different path from the one many expected during the height of his success, leaving behind a story that continues to generate debate and speculation long after his passing.
You know, the next thing is, man, Craig Mack was the one that jumped Bad Boy off. And, and it got so bad that Craig Mack, who died from AIDS, That man, he got brainwashed so bad from Diddy and got done so wrong. The man went to South Carolina and joined a cult with his family until he died of AIDS a few years ago. The man refused service for AIDS. And the cold part about it, man, if y'all go check the video, right? At one point, he was gonna try to delete Diddy. You know, some say that Diddy might have had something to do with hooking him up with the girl that gave him the alphabet. And Craig Mack refused any funeral arrangements from Bad Boy, you know, in the wake of his death. It's bad when somebody go and join a cult. The same thing happened to Loon. The same thing happened to Mace. Everybody's seeking religion, man, when they messing with Bad Boy and Diddy.
And Craig Mack's story, according to many online narratives, is often treated as just the beginning. The deeper people dig into these discussions, the more they claim to see patterns, an alleged network of insiders, industry figures, and social media personalities who are not just observers of the system, but part of the ecosystem that keeps it moving. Whether that interpretation is fair or exaggerated depends on who you ask, but the conversation continues to spread across platforms. And this is where the story takes a darker turn in tone. For every artist whose career fades into silence, there are others who appear ready to step into the space they leave behind. Some commentators argue this is not simply coincidence or timing, but the result of ambition, opportunity, and self-interest operating inside a highly competitive industry. Others reject that framing entirely, calling it online exaggeration fueled by rumor culture. What is undeniable is how quickly narratives form and evolve in the digital age. Attention has become a form of currency, and controversy often travels faster than context. In that environment, public perception can shift overnight, shaped by influencers, commentators, and viral posts that blur the line between fact and speculation. The result is a space where reputations are constantly built, challenged, and reshaped in real time.
Jeremy, Denzel Washington, Beyonce Knowles, Ellen DeGeneres, Whoopi Goldberg, Lady Gaga, Chrissy Teigen, John Legend, Joan Rivers, Rob Saget. Do you want me to keep going? Well, the celebrities get their way. Chrissy Teigen knows about that. Everybody knows about her. John Legend knows about that. Denzel Washington knows about that. Oprah knows about that. Ellen knows about that. Sandra Bullock knows about that. Unfortunately, after a second, Melissa McCarthy knows about that. Jimmy Kimmel knows about that. Does everybody want to leak names? The list goes on. You know, it'll tell you who doesn't know because they were the ones, so adamant. They were the ones filling the social media all April, March, February, and January over traffic. Who was that again? Oh wait, that was no one. Because, hashtag #MeToo went viral. The celebrities that have been pushing, the blue checkmark people that have been big since the beginning, not just when it became a trend.
It's one thing to hear whispers circulate online, but it's something else entirely when those whispers are amplified by reports, commentary, and viral interpretations of law enforcement activity. In moments like that, speculation tends to escalate quickly and narratives begin to take on a life of their own. What some describe as isolated controversy, others frame as something far more coordinated, though those interpretations remain heavily debated. When searches or investigations into high-profile properties are discussed in the media, public attention often fills in the gaps with assumption and interpretation. Some online voices claim that what was uncovered points to something far more structured and troubling than ordinary celebrity scandal, while others caution that such conclusions go far beyond verified information. What remains consistent is the intensity of reaction whenever powerful names are involved. Every detail becomes fuel for larger theories about systems, influence, and accountability, even when the full factual picture is still unclear or contested. In that environment, certainty is rare, but speculation spreads fast, shaping perception long before official conclusions are known.
At the time, we only speculated that investigators collected electronic evidence, but now we know for sure. According to the indictment against Diddy, investigators seized more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant from his home. The court doc states these items were used in something referred to as freak-offs, which were elaborate and produced performances that Combs arranged, directed, during, and often electronically recorded. In arranging these freak-offs, Combs, with the assistance of members and associates of the Combs enterprise, transported and caused to be transported commercial across state lines and internationally.
This is where online narratives often escalate from rumor into certainty. What some voices describe as proof is interpreted by others as a turning point, where scattered allegations are seen as evidence of something larger and more structured. In that framing, it was never just about isolated incidents or individual moments, but about the way stories connect once they enter the ecosystem of media, commentary, and speculation. According to certain commentators and online personalities, there are claims that some high-profile environments may have functioned in ways that raised uncomfortable questions about influence, access, and silence. However, these interpretations remain heavily disputed, and much of what circulates exists in the blurred space between testimony, rumor, and public fascination. The more controversial part of the discourse comes when names are introduced into the conversation. Some online figures allege that well-known celebrities were present at certain industry events over the years, but these claims vary widely in credibility and are often repeated without verification. As a result, they remain part of an ongoing internet debate rather than established fact. What this ultimately highlights is not a confirmed narrative, but the power of repetition in the digital age. Once a story enters the public imagination, it can evolve quickly, attaching itself to familiar faces and amplifying suspicion whether or not there is concrete evidence behind it.
I'm on guard, like murdered. And if you
Some people online point to moments where public figures respond strongly to rumors or controversies as if those reactions reveal something deeper. In that interpretation, even firm denials or defensive statements are read through a suspicious lens, with viewers projecting meaning onto tone, timing, or body language. However, others argue that this kind of reading can easily drift into assumption, especially when there is no verified connection between a celebrity and the claims being discussed. In reality, public responses from high-profile figures are often shaped by media pressure, reputation management, and the need to address viral speculation quickly. What looks like evidence to one audience is, to another, simply the predictable tension between fame and internet-driven narratives that spread faster than facts can be confirmed.
I don't have to do with Puffy, so y'all can stop all their videos.
But not everyone who moves through the high-pressure world of fame walks away with power or stability. For some, the aftermath is quieter and more personal, marked by burnout, public scrutiny, and moments of emotional collapse that no amount of success can fully shield. People often assume that proximity to fame guarantees protection or longevity, but the reality for many rising artists can look very different. The same system that elevates someone overnight can also turn away just as quickly when attention shifts elsewhere. In the case of YK Osiris, online discussions often point to a series of public moments and livestream incidents as examples of how quickly perception can change in the digital era. Supporters describe it as pressure and visibility taking a toll, while critics frame it as consequences of behavior amplified by social media. What his situation ultimately reflects, beyond any single narrative, is how fast the industry cycle moves, and how easily an artist can go from being heavily promoted to becoming the subject of memes, commentary, and rapid public judgment.
Family calling, man, I need this, fuck buddy. This shit is not right. So what the for? Like, why the is Earth for? Like, why, like, Osiris, why you haven't even, like, this crash, like, this do something that like, at this point, like, why on this Earth still? Like, why you still, like, why the hell you on this Earth? Why, when nobody, it was like, you don't have nobody, like, are you on this Earth for? I can't even see my kids. Like, what the I haven't made no music. I haven't made no money for music in like two and a half years.
But if you think proximity to fame guarantees success or stability, look no further than moments like these to see how unpredictable the system can be. In the fast-moving world of social media and entertainment commentary, one emotional statement or public outburst can shift perception instantly. The same industry that elevates artists can also turn on them just as quickly when narratives change. Whenever someone in the spotlight speaks openly about their struggles or frustrations, the reaction online is often immediate and divided. Some interpret it as honesty, others as instability, and that label can spread faster than context ever does. In that environment, reputations are shaped not only by actions, but by how those actions are clipped, shared, and discussed. What gets lost in the noise is the human side of visibility, the pressure of constant attention, the weight of public judgment, and the difficulty of expressing emotion without it becoming content. Whether people agree or disagree with what is said, the cycle of reaction reveals more about audience dynamics than any single moment ever could.
It is, man. This industry is not what you think it is. Don't let these people fool you, man. Before in this social media, I'm gonna give y'all a little background of me, man. Like, my life is not perfect, man. Don't think because I'm on Instagram showing this, showing that, I don't got a perfect life either. And I want you to understand that just because all these rappers show all this money and show all this fame, don't think their life is good. It's not. These people are always faking and let you know that this is not what y'all want. Do something that's low key. Do something that can help you out, other than being a target or a flashy. Cause God can take this away from you real quick, and it's not a blessing from God. And I tell people that 24/7, this is the devil's game. It is not. This is not no God's game. This right here is for you to look up to me. This right here for you to look up to me. This right here is for you to look up to me. If I don't wear this, you don't look up to me. If rappers don't do what they do, you won't look up to them.
When every other angle of a story seems to lose momentum, online discourse often shifts into its most explosive form. Claims of hidden leverage, exposed secrets, and unreleased proof that supposedly sits just out of reach. In that space, statements from outspoken or controversial personalities tend to spread quickly, especially when they hint at exposing powerful figures or long-running industry tensions. Orlando Brown, along with other figures frequently discussed in viral commentary, is often referenced in these conversations as someone who speaks without restraint. Clips and interviews circulate across social media, and with them comes a wave of interpretation where viewers try to separate frustration, performance, and truth. Some people treat these moments as insight, while others see them as unreliable or exaggerated. As these narratives build, the internet tends to amplify the idea that major revelations are always imminent, that something definitive is about to surface that will change how people view the industry entirely. But in reality, most of these claims remain part of an ongoing cycle of speculation, reaction, and reposting, where certainty is rare and interpretation does most of the work.
Meek Mill came out saying that he'll pay somebody $100 grand to investigate that he has nothing to do with anything with Diddy.
Man, look, you can't take back what your butt sees. That's just like the video that's coming out with him and Will. With Will Smith getting the Will Smith. You ain't heard the Will Smith footage?
Yeah.
Alright, Will Smith. Then they got the Carl Winslow. Yeah, they got a lot, bro. It's a lot coming out, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna just keep it to you 1,000, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jaleel White was Reginald VelJohnson for a very long time.
In online discourse, conversations often escalate into the most extreme interpretations once they enter viral territory. Statements from controversial figures are frequently clipped, reshared, and reframed in ways that intensify their meaning far beyond the original context. In that environment, themes like secrecy, health fears, and hidden control systems become recurring patterns in how audiences interpret the entertainment world. Some commentators describe the industry as a place where silence is maintained through pressure, reputation risk, and the fear of public fallout. Others push back, arguing that these narratives often rely on speculation, exaggeration, and the blending of unrelated claims into a single overarching story. Even legal professionals and media analysts who appear in interviews about entertainment disputes tend to speak in careful, conditional language, emphasizing how difficult it is to verify sweeping claims circulating online. Despite that, viral narratives often strip away nuance, replacing uncertainty with certainty and turning discussion into conviction. What remains consistent is the speed at which these ideas spread, and how quickly complex situations are reduced to dramatic, simplified explanations that feel definitive, even when the underlying facts are still unclear or disputed.
Do you think the videotapes will ever be released?
Ooh. Do we live in America?
He said, do we live? There's a dog poop.
Because I will tell you, if you just pay attention to the testimony, there were videos on an iPad that the employees had access to, right? And you can't tell me, anyone who's watching this, they've been anywhere and something was going down and somebody said, hey man, give me a copy of that. Right?
Yep.
I mean, we can go back to the R. Kelly tape. That was VHS. You know how hard it is to make a copy of a VHS? and it was probably 30 or 40 of them tapes in every neighborhood. Right? Now we talking about digital. Now we talking about, hey man, airdrop me that video. Right? Hey.
Spread like wildfire.
Exactly. Because I am pretty sure either through the dark web or through one-sided consent of some sort, it's going to be released.
In moments of tragedy involving major public figures, the conversation online often expands far beyond verified facts. What begins as shock and mourning can quickly evolve into layers of interpretation, with different voices attempting to connect unrelated details into a larger narrative. In that process, speculation can take on the appearance of certainty, even when the underlying information remains incomplete or disputed. Whitney Houston's death, like many high-profile losses, became the subject of extensive public discussion, media analysis, and long-standing rumors. Over time, various commentators and online personalities have revisited the circumstances surrounding her final days, often drawing different conclusions based on selective details, hearsay, or retrospective interpretation. In these environments, even familiar figures and events are pulled into broader theories about industry pressure, influence, and secrecy. But separating documented facts from speculation is essential, especially when dealing with deeply personal and sensitive real-world tragedies. What remains clear is that moments like these reveal how quickly public memory can shift from grief to narrative building, and how easily uncertainty can be filled with stories that feel convincing, even when they are not fully supported by evidence.
That's how Clive did it. And then the next thing you know, she's Jay. And then it's Grammy time.
That happened.
And her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobby Christina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead. Ray J was the last person to see her alive. He let the drug dealer in, but she was sober, right? But he let the drug dealer in that gave her the shot. Leola Brown, Bobby Brown's sister, has said on several occasions that she was beaten. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was beat up. And Brandy was the one that found her. But you know, they pledge allegiance to Clive too.
In online commentary, stories about high-profile tragedies often become layered with interpretation over time. Different voices revisit old events, pulling together fragments of interviews, rumors, and retrospective assumptions to build larger narratives about what may or may not have happened. In that process, certainty can emerge even where the original record remains limited or contested. Whitney Houston's passing, like many major celebrity losses, has been the subject of ongoing discussion, analysis, and speculation across media and social platforms. Various commentators have offered competing perspectives, often focusing on the people around her, the pressures of fame, and the intense public scrutiny that follows iconic figures even after death. As these narratives circulate, details can become distorted or amplified, with unverified claims sometimes presented alongside documented facts. This blending of speculation and history makes it difficult for audiences to clearly distinguish between what is known, what is assumed, and what has been added later through repetition. Ultimately, these conversations say as much about how the internet processes grief and fame as they do about the events themselves, turning private tragedy into an ongoing public debate shaped by interpretation more than certainty.
Note to Brandy. Brandy read the note, got scared, and went back and told her brother Ray J. I believe Ray J went back and told Diddy what was in that note, and I believe Diddy went and told Clive Davis. I believe Diddy told Ray J to go in that room and get her nice and comfortable, and when she's relaxed, give me a call.
In online discussions, narratives often expand from individual stories into broader claims about entire systems. Once that shift happens, attention moves away from verified details and toward the idea that there are always hidden layers just beneath the surface. In that framing, even uncertainty can start to feel like evidence. Commentators and self-described insiders sometimes suggest that parts of the entertainment world operate in ways that are not fully visible to the public. These perspectives tend to circulate widely on social media, where short clips and quotes are detached from context and reshaped into larger theories about what everyone knows but no one says. At the same time, industry observers and journalists often caution that this kind of storytelling can blur the line between observation and speculation. What begins as interpretation can quickly harden into belief, especially when repeated across multiple platforms. The result is a digital environment where perception itself becomes the story, shaped less by confirmed facts and more by how quickly ideas spread, evolve, and get reinforced through repetition.
Everybody kind of knew back in the day that Meek Mills and Puff was a little too friendly. Anytime two rappers or two people in the industry come dressed up alike,
In the age of social media, even a few public appearances or interactions between celebrities can quickly turn into full-scale narratives online. What people see on Instagram, red carpets, or brief viral clips is often reinterpreted countless ways once it enters the rumor cycle. In situations like these, speculation tends to grow faster than context. Online discussions can take casual moments and rebuild them into elaborate storylines where tone, proximity, or timing is treated as hidden meaning. Once those interpretations spread widely, they often start to feel like consensus, even when there is no confirmed basis behind them. When controversy surrounds a major public figure, every past interaction gets re-examined through that lens. Appearances that once seemed ordinary are reframed, and unrelated events are pulled into the same narrative thread. This creates a feedback loop where attention itself becomes the fuel for more speculation. Ultimately, what emerges is less a clear record of events and more a shifting story shaped by perception, editing, and repetition across platforms.
Meek Mill's got to deal with what he got to deal with based on the relationship him and Puff had. Dressing alike, being cozy, Puff calling him daddy, saying little innuendos to him. People are looking at that and saying Meek Mill is wrong for saying no Diddy. But you can't tell a man how to spend his money and how to make love to his wife or his Diddy. Diddy had rented a mansion out for Meek Mill's birthday party, and he had rented it for like $25,000. I remember we rented one of Cher's mansion out, you know what I'm saying? And that's the day he had fired his cook, but that's a whole nother story. You know what I'm saying? It was me, Wolf, Mace, Ock. Was Ock staying there? No, it was just me, Wolf, Mace, Puff, and there was one other person staying in the mansion. But anyway, long story short is that they came recently. This happened a long time ago, but they recently just made a statement that they found loads of cocaine. I wonder what they did with the cocaine, because they didn't turn it over to the police. They said they found loads of cocaine, razor blades. They said that the sheets were bloody, nasty. They found a whole lot of used condoms. And it was a Diddy party, giving in Meek Mill's honor for his birthday. I was like, yo, wow. They said it was disgusting the way that they left the place.
But this kind of narrative isn't limited to the music industry. It often expands into comedy, film, and any space where fame and visibility collide. Over time, certain comedians and public figures become frequent subjects in online commentary, where clips, interviews, and out-of-context statements are reinterpreted as evidence of something larger happening behind the scenes. Orlando Brown, along with other controversial personalities, is often cited in these discussions as an example of how unchecked commentary spreads across platforms. Similarly, Cat Williams has long been associated with remarks that fans and critics interpret in different ways, especially when it comes to how success and power operate in entertainment. In that environment, perception tends to replace proof. Careers are examined through the lens of suspicion, and achievement itself becomes something people try to explain through hidden systems or unseen forces. Whether those interpretations are accurate or not, they reveal how quickly public conversation can shift from entertainment to speculation. Ultimately, what gets built online is not a verified account of how success works, but a layered narrative shaped by repetition, reaction, and the search for meaning in highly visible industries.
Tory Hart, exactly what Kevin Hart did in order to be where he's at. Now, I don't know if it was Kevin that pissed him off. I don't know who it was that pissed him off. But I do understand that the comedy world is nothing to play with. And since, you know, Richard Pryor left us, God rest his soul, it's more like, you know, everybody's trying to be Richard Pryor. You know, and I can't put myself in position to not understand why some people just don't have the kind of respect for Cat that they should have. Kevin been pissing off a lot of people, you know, comedically. You know what I'm saying? And I think that instead of trying to bash somebody that knows what they're talking about and bash somebody that has respect in the comedy world, I think that they need to look deeper into why is he letting this information go? Why is this information just now being released? Why, I mean, come on, why does his chain look bigger than any rappers that I've ever seen rap? Why, out of all the comedians, does he still have a $3 million mansion in Malibu? Why, out of every single comedian, does he still get picked on? But still looks like he's getting a check for nothing, just to sit on his couch, and everybody else look like, you know, they're has-beens.
So when narratives reach this point, the tone often shifts from storytelling to certainty. Online layers of rumor, commentary, and interpretation can merge until it feels like everything is finally being exposed at once. But in most cases, what's actually unfolding is a collision between verified information, speculation, and the speed of viral attention. As more voices join the conversation, it becomes harder to separate fact from assumption. Claims get repeated, reshaped, and recontextualized until they take on a life of their own. In that environment, entire cultures can be re-examined through suspicion alone, even when the underlying evidence is incomplete or unclear. The more important question isn't who is next, but how easily audiences shift from curiosity to certainty without clear proof. In an era where information travels instantly and context is often stripped away, belief can form faster than understanding. And as these cycles continue, what remains essential is not just consuming the story, but questioning how it was built, and where interpretation ends and fact actually begins.